If I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. The Commander decks released with every single product are Wizards of the Coast onboarding and entry point into enjoying a new set release. It is the quickest out-of-the-box way to sit down with your friends and enjoy everything a Magic the Gathering release has to offer. And today I want to cover Tarkir Dragonstorm. I want to talk about the Commander deck specifically, look at each deck individually, decide which decks people are buying and which decks people are not, and spoiler alert, there's a little more to it than just the price, and I want to talk about why it's so important that these remain good products for regular players like you and I. All of this and more with an in-depth discussion on the cost and breakdown of these decks in today's video, and if you like conversations like this, make sure you click the subscribe button down below and like this video because it helps a small channel like mine more than you can possibly imagine. All right, let's talk some precons. Now, I will say, we're going to talk a lot generally about precons, and we will get some specifics as far as what Commander decks from Tarkir Dragonstorm are actually selling, the actual numbers of those decks that have sold on TCG Player, because that's what we do here. We collect every single sold listing of sealed product from TCG Player for popular TCG releases, and we store it in the vault so we have a picture of what our world looks like over the long term. And this is valuable when you're just a person like me that just likes Magic and has a basement that doesn't have a store. I like to know this information and remember the time, so it helps me make better decisions in the future. And one of the decisions I've really come around on is the idea that these Commander decks hold a ton of value. And I don't just mean the price of the cards in the product. As I've stated in the introduction, it is the onboarding and play experience for a set, and there's something to be said that this is a way many of us enjoy almost every single Magic release. And this is extremely important, with one-on-one 60-card standard Magic for the longest time being absolutely dead, and while yes, it's making a comeback now, it's hard to every set release a format that nobody wants to play and say, hey, here's your introduction. And yeah, limited and draft are fun, but they don't really happen all that frequently, and the casual, average, everyday human that enjoys Magic doesn't engage with them nearly as much as probably someone like you or I. These Commander decks are a shining star in our ecosystem, and frankly, the sales indicate that. We see the Play Booster and Collector Booster box really topping the charts here, but after that, the Commander deck sets and all of the individual Commander decks make up a good portion of the number of products sold. And this is almost always the case with every single Magic the Gathering release. Since we've been tracking Commander products, they always appear at the very top of, if not on the top of the chart. And while Dragonstorm is a bit skewed because of the massive banana stand sale, there are other sets where these products are, well, a lot higher on the list. Looking at something like Aether Drift, a set that we would have considered not to be that great, we see that the Commander deck set and then all of the Commander decks still did extremely well over the course of time. This is because even for a set that's not good, you can get some good value and a good play experience and be able to say, hey, I got to play Aether Drift, I got to play Dragonstorm, and that is important. But it's also important to note that as consumers, we shouldn't just wildly spend our money on things. There are probably some smarter ways to go about that, and especially with these Commander decks, there are ways to save a couple bucks. Let's pop on over to something like TCG Player where we have all these things pulled up, and we see the individual prices of these decks, and I believe at the very beginning we have the set, and the set of decks is $265.49. Now, this is a pretty steep price increase from what we had seen in previous releases in, the history, but remember, we are seeing 5 decks here. And on top of that, if you break down the cost of all of these decks, you do save about $60 buying the bundle. Now, it goes without saying, TCG Player pricing is not the end-all, be-all, and the number of sales on TCG Player do not represent how many boxes of Magic have sold over the entire course of the universe and history, but it is interesting to know, in a limited scope and on a singular platform, how fans like you and I are spending our hard-earned money. And this Commander deck set seems to be popular not only for value, but for the gameplay experience. And when we get into the individual decks, that's where we start to see some, let's call it, differentiation. It's historically the case where we see one deck being wildly popular, another deck maybe holding some value, and then some real, stingers, let's call it. But the Teamer Roar Commander deck, and here we'll go try to find it in here. let's see, Jeskai Striker, Mardu Surge, Asban Armor, Sultai, and then here we go. The Temur War Commander deck being the most popular deck makes sense. Listen, Temur's a fun commander strategy, and it really seems to slide right into what this set is trying to do. You couple that with the fact that there is loads of powerful cards in here, and you got a premium on this product. But if you've been around the space for a while, you know, hey, if I'm going to buy 1 or 2 of these commander deck sets, or one of these two of these popular commander decks, the set is starting to look better and better at this price. Moving on, we do see the Sultai Arisen Commander deck. Let's go find it. That's what we're going to do for every single one of them. We're going to find Sultai Arisen Commander deck, and we see that this product is pretty much on par. And it's rare that we see in our ecosystem 2 decks, you know, this close. It's happened before. It's not unheard of, but it's not super common. And this just goes to show that this 5 deck set having 2 popular playable decks is only going to juice the price of this product and its popularity, and it's going to make it something that we want to get our hands on more and more. Moving further down that line, as we get to the Abzan Armor Commander deck, we finally see our big price drop off. And this is where, as fans, we have to be careful. Now, if we take a look at the number of decks sold, it's not that big of a price drop off from Sultai down to Abzan, but the price drop off is pretty extreme. This product is clearly not as coveted by fans like you and I, and it feels more like a throw-in, but if you've been keeping track of the math, we're getting close to the cost of a deck set, especially if you don't order off TCG Play. If you're looking at your local store, if you're heading over to minmaxedgames.com, whatever it might be, these values are starting to seem better and better. Now, moving down the line to the last 2 least popular decks, we do have the Mardu Surge and Jeskai Striker Commander decks. Historically, you know, 2 strategies that have been okay in Commander, but we still look and we see, yeah, there's a pretty big fall off on Jeskai Striker and Mardu Surge, but still a good number of products sold individually, especially when you consider all of the boxes that actually sold in the Commander deck set. So it's nice to know how we as fans are spending our money, but why would we do that? Why are we spending all of our money on these commander decks? And I will say there are some benefits outside of what we talked about. Chalk up the wonderful play experience, the unique cards, the new mechanics. But it's nice to have a pre-constructed list where when you spend your money as a consumer, as a fan, when you go down to your local game store and you drop that coin, that credit card on the counter, you know exactly what you're getting. So much of Magic the Gathering nowadays is based on and pulls and what comes out of the box, and more recently even the Secret Lair SpongeBob fiasco with this, secret cards in there, which I'm actually a fan of. I think they've done this correctly. It's safe to say, though, that people do get sick of the lottery from time to time. And the Commander deck being a very stable product, telling you the experience you're getting, the actual cards you're getting, and knowing where your money is going does seem extremely valuable. I think that's often overlooked in the Commander deck space. Now, I will say the Commander deck space has changed. It's not just all about the players. It's not just all about people who want to get a single copy of all these cards in their system. This has become a popular product for people who do sell singles on the secondary market. The math is quite easy to do when you factor in that you have the list, you know the value or rough value of almost all of these cards, and you can kind of see how far your dollar is going to go as a single seller on the secondary market. More and more of that will probably lead to these products getting slightly more expensive over time. And that's where I say I want to make sure the Commander deck remains a good entry playable point for each release. I know that we've talked collector decks. Heck, I have some of the old collector decks here in the background from Warhammer 40k, and I will say, that is fun, but it worked because the cards were accessible. The base version was out there, the cards were accessible. I don't love seeing any kind of limited print run Commander deck announcement. I don't like seeing anything limited print run Commander that is functionally unique. If you want to spend extra, do limited print runs and collector's versions for different treatments of the cards, that's fine. But for functionality, gameplay, and accessibility, I love that these products are printed en masse, and I love the fact that people are getting their chance to get their hands on them. More more so than ever, it just helps me realize how successful the Tarkir Dragonstorm release has been. In fact, if we go over here to cardboardfinance.com, again, supported by the channel members. If you stuck around this long, the channel members support cardboardfinance.com, so all of the servers bills don't come out of my pocket. It's $5 a month below. Make sure you hit that join button. Thank you so much to the existing channel members. But if we go over here and we check the pre-release configuration, see how did these products pre-sell on TCG Player, and well, this is kind of impromptu. We weren't ready to do this off the cuff, so you'll have to bear with me as I kind of expand and show you guys what's going on here. It's worth it to note that as of right now, I know we had a massive banana stand sale and it's gone crazy, but Tarkir Dragonstorm has pre-sold more boxes than Bloomborough did. That's right. The pre-sale of Tarkir Dragonstorm on TCG Player has been more fruitful than the pre-sale of Bloomborough. I'm not saying it's a better set. I'm not saying it's going to be worth more. But let that sink in for a second. All right, I've got some collector box openings coming up for some channel members. It'll be probably early next week, maybe late this weekend. So thank you so much for hanging out. Until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh. Make sure you check out this video that YouTube is going to link for you right here because they think you'll enjoy it. And, well, frankly, so do I. All right, we'll see you around. Goodbye.